Better is the end of a thing than its beginning, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools. Say not, why were the former days better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask this. Welcome back to the channel. God bless you. I hope you had a great weekend, a blessed Lord's Day, blessed everything. I had a good weekend. I really did. We're going to talk a little bit about that in just a moment, but I got to say, I'm feeling like this week is going to be a good week. I feel like it's going to be a productive week. I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe it's because I've got a plan. Maybe it's because, I don't know, I'm just feeling positive today. I don't know what the real reason is, but hopefully you have a productive week as well. This weekend was great. I watched Little League, which always puts me in a good mood. And then on the Lord's Day, we met with another family at a park, and we played some wiffle ball. It was me and the father from this other family against all the kids. And the way we would do it is that the kids they get their hits and do normal wiffle ball stuff. But for the adults, if it wasn't a home run, then it was an out. So it was like a home run derby for the adults, but for the kids, it was regular baseball. It was great. We got beaten every single time, but there was a couple times where we were pretty close. We actually came back in the ninth inning, hitting home run after home run after home run, but we still lost. It was good. Good stuff. Good stuff. In any case, I gotta say, guys, there's something that I've noticed, and I started noticing it primarily with talking to fathers at Little League, like people I didn't know before. They have kids in Little League and stuff like that. One thing I've noticed in Little League, it's interesting. I don't live in a very Christian area, and so the percentage of Christian families in my areas is pretty low. But in Little League, the percentage of Christian families is very high, I would say, which is interesting because I wonder why that is. And I don't think it's because, Christians like sports more than non-Christians. I don't think that's what it is. I think probably what it is that Christians have the most kids. Even in my very non-Christian area, it's usually if there's a big family, it's a good bet that it's a Christian family. And so that's definitely the case in Little League. So there's a lot of Christian fathers there. But even the ones that aren't Christians, I've had a chance to talk to a number of these fathers. And I got to be honest, there's a disconnect between what you see on TV and, media and social media and real life, what people are actually like. Because, especially this month, the propaganda is so thick right now. It's thick. And people, on television are telling you that, look, society's changing. And it doesn't even matter what perspective they're from. I actually saw Owen Benjamin do something really interesting on one of Tucker Carlson's most recent things. I don't know, are they shows? I don't even know. Twitter things. It was so interesting because he made such a great point that it's like, if you go by media, and of course pagan media, they're celebrating this. Oh yeah, everyone's gay now. Everyone's gay. Everyone's promoting pride and transsexuals and stuff like that. That's what you think. If you go by TV and media and social media, that's what it seems like. The entire country's gone gay and everyone's lost their freaking minds. And then on the conservative side, they actually push that same narrative. Now they're against it. So this is what was so interesting about this video that I saw. Tucker Carlson is saying he's against that stuff as far as, the pride stuff and the crazy trans stuff and things like that and the groomers and stuff. But he's still pushing the narrative that pretty much everyone and their mother is trans now, and pretty much everyone and their mother supports trans and supports, child molestation, and it's just minor attracted persons. Everyone's saying it. And that's actually not true. That's not true. And so you got to watch your consumption of media. And look, I fall into this as well. I really do. So you got to watch the doomsday people, the doomsayers, where they're like, oh my goodness, everyone's going just completely insane and everyone's a pedophile. And that's really not the case. There are pedophiles out there, of course, and there's pedophiles in leadership and stuff like that. We understand that. And then the media, of course, promotes degeneracy. We get that, right? But everyday people, there's not quite that many out there that are pushing all this stuff. Look, people are sinners, and we get that. We understand that. But even sinners, even unrepentant sinners, you talk to them one-on-one, And they're not doing the things that the media says that they're doing. They're not calling pedophiles minor attracted persons. They're not down with the LGBT, Q stuff. And they might not push back against it. Like, they might not make a big stink about it, but they're not for it. They understand that it's insane. They get that. And if you talk to people, and I've talked to a number of fathers at Little League now, and I've had conversations on the side with people just in general, people, even non-Christians, understand that this is insane, and they're not going along with it, and they're just kind of going with the flow and enjoying their lives. And see, this is the point. This is my whole point. You gotta understand that what you see online and what these talking heads tell you is the case is not necessarily the case. Look, times are tough for a lot of people. I get that. But if you go by like what online tells you, what media tells you, people are freaking miserable, right? Everyone's miserable. Inflation's eating away at everyone's standard of living and stuff like that. And look, inflation's real. We get it. I pay more for what I get at the store today than what I paid yesterday. But what we can't do is allow even a foothold, even a little inkling of despair take over our lives. Because if you think about it, if you think about your life, and this is how people act, America's as bad as it's ever been. It's the worst it's ever been. It was better, 20 years ago. And it's like, that's actually not correct. I don't think that's correct. You look at your life and you look at your friends, and, especially in Christian circles, man, there's just so much joy. There's so much gratitude. There's so much contentment. And let's just face it, like the people that I follow online, they post about the things that they're doing. There's a lot of like humble stuff happening right now that is very positive. Here's a picture of my chickens, for example. Look, I don't have a homestead. I don't have like a large, farm or anything like that. But, I'm doing small things to sort of in some ways, sort of control and manage my own destiny, as opposed to letting the supply chains that are controlled by somebody else manage what I do and what I get and stuff like that. And I've got, here's my chickens, right? Here's my new chickens. These are like 7 weeks old. I integrated them with the older hens. They're like 3 years old for the first time last week. And, for the most part, they ignored each other the first day. But then the second day, some of the violence started. And I think the older hens were hoping that it would just be a one-day thing and then they'd just leave. But obviously they didn't. And so there's some chicken violence going on. Here they are. They're roosted over here. You can't see it in this picture, but the hens are roosted way over here. Like, they're as far as they could possibly be. For safety, I'm sure. And they're just there and they're existing and, they're having a chicken life. And there you go. And, I got friends online that, they're posting, pictures of their, situations, and they're growing small gardens. They're taking small steps to not be so dependent on, quite frankly, people that really don't have your best interest in mind. Look, it's a minority of people, of course. But you don't have to go along with this. You don't have to go along with their plans to try to drive you into despair, to try to drive you into this stuff. Like, you actually have to consent to that, right? You have to consent to that. It's the same thing with like the COVID vaccines, right? Everyone and their mother is complaining about the COVID vaccine mandates and things like that. Look, you're not a victim. You're not a victim. Nobody's going to grab you and forcibly stick a vaccine in your arm. You have to choose it. And you might say, well, they're going to make my life miserable if I don't do it. Well, right, okay, I understand that. But still, it's a choice for you. And so you need to look at that kind of stuff, the things that happen right now and the trans stuff and all this stuff, and recognize that there's a lot of us out here that are just normal. And we can build stuff together, and we can have a lot of joy and contentment and gratitude together. And, I think about the people in my church, right? And it doesn't even matter how much money they have, right? This is an inflationary time, and look, a lot of people are struggling. I get it, but it doesn't even matter how much money you have or how much food you can afford to buy and stuff like that. Connected all together, we still have a really good life, and it's no surprise. It's no surprise because we have a very good God. We have a very good God. Life is good for God's people. It is just that simple. And the thing is, like, God's judging the United States. A lot of people think that. I personally believe that too. I think if you look at the list of judgments that God pronounces on nations that turn their back on him, I think we see a lot of that happening in our country today, in the United States of America. But the thing is, like, the fact of God's judgment, like God, because he's judging the nation, he doesn't forget to have mercy on his people. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't forget to be good to his people, right? It's not like the judgment of God on a nation doesn't nullify God's mercy for his people. And so he'll give his people their daily bread. And we can be grateful for that. We can be grateful because chances are, if you're a believer, you understand this. Chances are, you know that you have way more than you deserve. It's just that simple, man. I see people, they'll post pictures of their dinner. Look, I know they don't eat like this every day, most of them, but they'll post pictures of like a Friday dinner or a Sunday dinner or a Saturday dinner. And it's an abundance. It's just, they've got steak, they've got, vegetables, whatever it is, eggs, whatever it is, butter. And, that there's a gratefulness that you can cultivate for stuff like that. Look, I'm not saying everyone can afford, the finest meats, the finest foods and things like that, but you can afford food. You can afford food. And if you can't, there are resources available within the church and without for you to be able to provide for your families and things like that. Look, times are hard for some people. Look, it's difficult. Listen, my business, is very dependent on the economy and stuff like that. It was a lot easier last year, the year before, than it is this year. My business is harder this year than it's been. But you look at the gifts that God has given you. He's giving, you more than enough. There's no like the whole idea of this like radical scarcity where there's like everyone just got to scrape to get by. That's just not the case. That's not reality. And you might be going through tough times and you might feel that way, but the thing is, their resources are out there, and God provides his church what the church needs in order to survive. If he takes care of the sparrows, if he takes care of the flowers out there, and he puts good clothing on them, of course he's going to take care of you. That's the bottom line. But we need to work together. We need to be a family. We need to be brothers and sisters and things like that. That's how it is, guys. And so be careful that you don't buy the propaganda. I was talking to some guy the other day, and it's just like he doesn't buy into any of the LGBT stuff. He doesn't promote degeneracy. He doesn't think degeneracy is a good thing to promote publicly. He doesn't think that teaching kids about degeneracy is a good thing. Not a believer, but he doesn't think that. He knows that's wacky. But if you go by media, this is everyone. This is just what we do now. And it's just, you got to watch out. If you follow a lot of doomsday people, there's a lot of doomsayers out there. I would suggest dropping. I remember I dropped the doomsayers during COVID for a long time. I just stopped consuming the media because I just couldn't take it anymore. I knew it was affecting me. And I was like, I knew that it was a scam. But even though I knew it was a scam, the doomsayers were still affecting me to some degree. You got to watch out for that because that's not reality. If they put it online and they promote it, and all that's, you can be pretty sure that what they're putting on is not reality. They're trying to make it seem. They're trying to speak it into existence. This is something that I saw in the Owen Benjamin thing yesterday as well. They say it, and it's like they say it enough. They say it authoritatively enough that it becomes reality. Look, nobody's out here saying. Look, I can't say nobody. Some people are. Regular people aren't out here saying, "Oh, there's no pedophiles anymore. It's just minor attracted person." That's fantasy. Regular people don't do that. And just because Clayton Kershaw is caving to the LGBT stuff and things like that, Clayton Kershaw is not a normal person. Not everybody's doing that. See, that's what they want you to think. It's inevitable. Even Clayton Kershaw is doing it. It's inevitable. You have to cave. Even a rich, pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the game, even he's caving to this. And what are you going to do? You're just in the mailroom at this corporation. You always have a choice. You don't have to cave. You don't have to cave. You just need to focus on the things that really matter. And the things like wiffle ball. That's why I brought it up, wiffle ball. A wiffle ball bat and a ball, I don't know, what does it cost? $3? $4? Look, inflation is real, but you can still have a great time with your friends and family for like $3. You could get a stick for goodness sake. Like, you don't need a whole lot to have a good life. And I'm not saying that, like, the good things in life are evil or things like that. But what I am saying is that when your job is threatened, and they want you to go along with some kind of insane lie to keep your job, you got to start thinking about things. What are the things that you actually really need? And I got to say, the things that you actually really need, God will provide for you, whether you you don't have to ever go along with the crowd. You don't ever have to bend the knee. It's not. I know the internet makes it seem like it's inevitable. I know the media makes it seems like it's already happened. It's already inevitable. There's no sense in denying the reality. It's not reality. It's not reality. And those of you who do have, relationships with people in real life, and you've got strong churches and you know people in real life, you guys know this. You all know this. Chances are, the more you live your life exclusively online, I like online. I'm not saying online's bad, but the more you live your life exclusively online, the more despair that you feel. And that's not because it's reality. It's not because you're well informed. It's actually the opposite. It's because you're not informed. It's because you're misinformed, to use one of their terms. Because they're not actually telling you what reality is. They're describing what they want reality to be. And you got to keep that in mind. Real life, God is good. Put it that way. God is good. Yeah, we've got degenerates that are in charge of the government and stuff like that. I understand. But regular, everyday people, they're not going along with this kind of stuff. And that is something that we have to thank God for. We really do. God's been gracious to us. He's judging the nation, but he's gracious to his people. He's good to his people. Don't ever forget that. So, all that to say, enjoy your life, enjoy your families. God bless you. Have a productive week. I hope you found this video encouraging, helpful. God bless.